Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I think we maybe fit another movie into spooky season here before the month of October is over. So today I want to talk about a little 1984 film called Ghostbusters, an image of which you will see here. I couldn't find a match for the one I had. So I think that's the original movie poster back there. So Ghostbusters is a 1984 comedy slash horror film starring Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Harold Ramis. They are three college professors in New York City who get a call to come investigate a ghost at a public library. And when they come back from encountering ghosts, they are subsequently fired from their jobs at the university for basically not doing any real work. Who decide to go into business for themselves, ghost hunting, finding ghosts, capturing them, so on and so forth. Along the way, they encounter a couple people who have recurring ghosts in their apartments. And the story escalates as more and more ghosts appear, and they have to capture more and more of them and hire more help. The story of the story behind the film is somewhat interesting. Dan Aykroyd had written this film. Dan Aykroyd was basically a lot like his character in the film. He is someone who is very, very interested in the supernatural. Both of his parents were interested in it. He read lots of books about it. And he wrote the film intending for it to be him and Bill Murray, because the two are close friends. And then, not Bill Murray, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be him and John Belushi. My apologies. It's supposed to be Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi because John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd were very close friends. Dan Aykroyd recalls he was actually writing lines for the script when he was called and informed that John Belushi had died. So the initial film was like science fiction, took place in the future. And it was decided to just bring it back down to earth, set it in modern 1980s times. Bill Murray was brought in. Harold Ramis was brought in to help work on the script to rewrite it, and was eventually chosen to be the third member of the team to be on screen. The film itself was unusual in its day in that it was heavy on special effects. Lots of ghosts, lots of puppetry, lots of special effects, lots of explosions. So the budget for this film was roughly 5 or 6 times what a comedy normally would be. The budget for the film was around $30 million, which in 1984's days was exorbitantly expensive for comedies. Comedies were pretty much just actors and dialogue, maybe some slapstick. You might have a car crash or something like that. You rarely had comedies with any sort of special effects in them, especially not large amounts of them. And they had to work hard to convince the studios to give them this budget. But when it was released, it was one of only 4 films in the entire year that broke $100 million in sales revenue. It was #1 in the box office for 7 weeks in a row. It won awards. This film went on to make, I think, like $290 million plus for its full theatrical run of a budget of $30 million. So smash success. The film also made Harold Ramis more of a household name. I don't know if household name was he'd been in Stripes before. He'd been in a couple other films, but this film certainly cemented his role as someone who could do comedy. He really would prefer to be behind the screen, but Harold Ramis actually did pretty well because of this film. From what I remember, I don't know anything about behind the scenes stuff, but I lost my train of thought. The film required substantial rewrites from the original, but it was a huge success. It became a cultural icon as well. The film has been inducted into like the Library of Congress is like something, cultural significant films. There were numerous spin-offs. They had a cartoon. They made at least 3 or 4 films that I know of off the top of my head. Some which are more or less successful than others, but we're talking more about the Ghostbusters film. Who is the female lead? Sigourney Weaver. There were lots of actresses who were considered for the female lead. People initially did not want to cast Sigourney Weaver, because she was known for playing dramatic roles. She was Ripley in Aliens. She had a couple of well-known dramatic roles. She was known as being, heavy. And then she came to her interview and like ran around the office on all fours, howling like a dog during her audition, to try to convince people that she could be goofy and silly. It's like, I did not know that before looking into this. So it's like, she's got some comedy chops there that were unexpected for the day. She's done a bit more comedy since then, but yeah, at the time that she would be willing to do something like this, although her character in the film isn't silly. She plays the straight man to Bill Murray's absurd schmuck. But that's a little tidbit that I didn't know about. The other character that kind of plays opposite to her a little bit, they are neighbors in an apartment building, went to Rick Moranis, who most people at the time he was better known for being part of the what the hell were they? Bob and Doug McKenzie, the McKenzie brothers. He was part of the Bob and Doug McKenzie bit. They were initially going to, they wanted John Candy for the role, but he turned it down. So I think the director had worked with Rick Moranis on something else. They picked him. This film has just so many cute little, interesting little tidbits behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of before watching this. The big bad ghost at the end was originally, they wanted Paul Rubens, who was better known as Pee Wee Herman, to be the big bad ghost at the end, but he turned that down. So it went to like a Yugoslavian actress who they kind of with an androgynous look, like Grace Jones, Grace Slick, one of those Graces, Grace Jones, I think. So I went for androgynous look, patterned after David Bowie, and Grace, whatever her name is. So I just found all these interesting little things, and that's not watching. I didn't watch the. There's a lot of this DVD has a lot of extras, all new special features, which I did not watch any of. This is all stuff I found looking up on the internet. I did watch the film recently. Just it still makes me giggle, even though I know where the plot's going, even though the movie's over 30 years old. Man, it's like, yeah, it's 40 years old at this point. This is its 40th anniversary. Holy crap, this movie was old. But yeah, I think even after 40 years, I think a lot of this film still holds up. Whatever criticisms I might have just kind of fall away. I mean, Bill Murray's character, Venkman, is kind of a sleazeball. He does turn out to have some morals later in the film, which surprised me, actually. I just think this film is so well done. And damn, is it still funny. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. As always, this is crap. And until next time, good hunting.